So this week they're starting to close in on the whole Roxxon angle, although they're still kind of not 100% on the right page as to why they need to close in on Roxxon. But hey, moving the story forward and giving them a chance to use their powers together is an A-plus win for me.
Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing
Episode 7, Lotus Eaters, of Cloak and Dagger on Freeform. Alright, so, in case you missed it, I didn't have a video last week. That's because, while you were watching Cloak and Dagger, I was watching it and Wasp to do that review. So, I did get caught up. A lot of stuff happened, especially a bunch of stuff with Tyrone really coming into his own with being able to talk to people and figuring out what happened and being able to prove things, and then some bad stuff happened. I'm sure it'll come up as we're doing the individual reviews. But for now, I want to talk about what I do here. What I do is I review shows like this, superheroes, mysteries, fantasies, those sorts of things. And then I'm supposed to be doing theory videos, but I totally have been dropping the ball on that. If that sounds interesting and you want to hear more, click the subscribe button to join our little community. But for right now, Cloak and Dagger are a couple of kids that are out in the middle of nowhere. I don't mean physically, I mean emotionally. They've been hurt. They are pretty messed up emotionally and mentally, and both of them are trying to find their own way in the world. However, they keep getting thrown together because they also have the power of the light and dark force. Now, this gives him teleportation powers, her dagger powers, and both the ability to see inside someone's heart, soul, mind, key, depending on how you look at it. And that's where we're starting tonight's episode. So let's throw this up there.
So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time.
I think I'm going to just start this off by saying there are days where I wish I got told, nope, you're just in a catatonic trance. None of this is real. This is all just some nightmare you've been going through. Wow, that was way too easy to say. Alright, so Tandy and Tyrone have gone inside. They did it by linking their powers. They touch at the same time, and we learned that they were digging for the Dark Force. They might not have even known about the Light Force, as I've been speculating for some time now. But we also find out who her father was on the phone with the night of the car accident. And we also find out that inside a catatonic, crazy trance, it's not just being a spectator. Cloak and Dagger are in danger. And for the first time, I think since the first episode, I think episode 7 here is the first time, we're not doing the duality episode. We're not doing them separate. They're working together, and that really says something. We finally get to see what it means, and we have enemies to fight. I mean, these terrors aren't exactly supervillains, but they might as well be. I mean, they even give them weird little names. So, all in all, this was probably the most comic booky, but they still spend plenty of time dealing with heart-wrenching, intellectual, emotional, damaging moments. Things like when Tandy realizes who's on the other end of that phone. Daddy? Pumpkin? Now, in order to judge this episode, I need to talk about the fact that both of my parents are still alive. I can talk to them anytime. But my pop, my grandfather on my mother's side isn't. Neither of my grandparents on my dad's side are. So putting myself in Tandy's shoes, would I be willing to stay in that extra-dimensional prison to have another conversation with Grandpa or Pop or Grandma? That is a hard question. There are so many things I wish I had said to my Pop while he was still alive. So many things I wish I had learned from my grandfather when he was still alive. Just to hear my Grandma Lil talk again would be awesome. But I'd like to think I at least wouldn't be so lost that I would choose to stay. Although, at least there was one good side effect of it. She did learn how to throw her darts really, really well, somewhere in the billion times she relived that moment. I also really love the fact that Tyrone was all like, I should just leave you here. I should, but I'm the good guy here, and you're the good liar, and so I'm stuck going back in for you. So he does, and then the worst thing happens. Remember when She says at the beginning of the episode, what's the worst that could happen? We can't open the door? No, there's much worse things. Yeah, I think this is the much worse things. But I have a slight side question here, since I delved into this. Those of you who have lost someone, would you be willing to risk what Tandy did in order to have just a few moments of conversation with the person you lost again? I'm curious. Anyone else feel like they would totally fall into the same trap Tandy did? How many of you would go back for her, too? How many of you would fall into the same trap that Cloak did? Although I will give it to him, it was some quick thinking on his part, especially while light daggers were being hurled at his head. Ask him a question, something only he would know. Now, luckily for us, Tandy asked him a question that we knew the answer to, too, because, let's be honest, there's a lot of things he could have known. But it kind of breaks your heart. There was the really great family reunion, there was a whole bunch of heartfeltness, but mostly this was an episode all about training on how their powers are used and why their powers are used. Now, like I said up top, we learned a little bit more about Roxxon and the things around it, but realistically, most of this was character development still, and I love it. I love the fact that we can have a show that's superhero craziness and still got mad character development. One of the best things was at the absolute end, those last few seconds, when the phone call got made. And I want you to think about this for a second. She complained earlier no one ever calls her. Well, he called her. And he said no one understands what he feels like with the loss of his brother. But she not only understood it, but she made it okay and normal. That's what best friends do. That's what partners do. But we still have a long way to go before the Cloak and Dagger that I'm used to reading about can be. But I love the growing into it. Even if right now they're going after Roxxon because they think it's about Tandy's dad, when it's really about them, about their origin, about the dark force and the light, about being the chosen. With only 3 episodes to go, I'm curious to see how this goes, and whether or not there's any real call for a season 2. I hope so. Let me know down in the comment section, though. How are you liking Cloak and Dagger? And did this feel to you like it was a more superhero, more comic booky episode because of the amount of it that took place in the fantasy world? Like I said, let me know in the comment section. But before you do that, do me a favor and like and share this video. I'm trying to build up here, and I'm trying to build up my excitement for doing so. And part of that is gaining subscribers. So if you're new here, click that subscribe button and join our little community. One where we can talk about how and why we tell stories. One where we can examine what it means to be a storyteller. And one where we can have fun and watch a bunch of comic book characters throw darts made out of light at each other. For now, I hope you have a good night, and thank you for walking with me through the heart of the stories we tell.